something good happened to you. And almost before you could hold it, before the warmth of it had even settled into your chest, the phone rang, the message arrived, the visit was already scheduled, and the voice on the other end was not a stranger, it was family. You expected to be met. You expected joy to be answered with joy. What you received instead was a question dressed as concern, a pause that lasted a half-second too long, a compliment with a small hook buried inside it, a change of subject so smooth that you almost did not notice the door quietly closing. Maybe it was a job. You finally got the thing you worked for years, and the first words back were, "Just be careful they don't overwork you." Maybe it was love. You found someone who treats you well, and the response was a long silence and a thin smile. Maybe it was your own healing. You got quieter, steadier, harder to provoke, and instead of relief, you felt a strange new chill, as if becoming well had somehow broken a rule. Or maybe it was nothing anyone could ever point to, just a coolness, a flatness, a sense that you had walked into the room carrying light and were being asked, without a single word, to set it down at the door before you came any closer. You walked away from that conversation smaller than you walked into it, and you could not explain why. So you did what you have always done. You told yourself you were imagining it. You told yourself you were being dramatic, ungrateful, too sensitive. You took the blame for your own deflation because blaming yourself felt safer than naming what you had actually felt. You were not imagining it. You felt the gaze, the particular one, the one that seems to find you at the exact moment you begin to rise. Notice the pattern. When you fall, they soften. They gather around you. They know exactly what to do with your suffering. They have a whole language for it. It is your flourishing they cannot seem to hold. Your pain has always had a place at the table. Your joy is the thing that has never quite been allowed to sit down. And the strangest part is this: it came wrapped in your own bloodline, in faces you have known since before you had words for them, in the people who, by every story you were ever told, were supposed to want the most for you, the ones who say they would do anything for you and mean it, and yet cannot quite manage the one thing you actually needed in that moment, to be glad, out loud, without a shadow crossing their face, that your life is good. And notice something else right now. You can already name exactly who in your family this is. A face came to mind before I even finished the sentence. You did not have to go searching for it. That speed, that instant, unbidden recognition is itself the proof. You have known about this gaze your entire life. You simply never once had permission to call it what it is. And maybe, underneath that, a quieter fear is rising in you too. The fear that to look at this honestly is somehow a betrayal, that to name what they do is the same as deciding to stop loving them. So let me promise you the exact opposite here at the very beginning. We are not here to convict anyone of anything. We are here to free you, and, if they should ever want it, to leave a door open for them as well. Love and clear sight were never enemies. You were only ever taught that they were. Tonight, we are going to name what happens in that room. We are going to look directly at the thing the old traditions called the evil eye, the gaze that drains, the look that wounds, and we are going to see what is really underneath it. not to make you afraid of the people who raised you. Fear is not freedom. Suspicion is not protection, and paranoia is just a smaller cage. We are going to do something far more useful than fear. We are going to make you free inside a room you cannot always leave. Because here's the truth no one ever prepared you for. The eye you are most defenseless against is not the stranger's eye. The stranger does not know your soft places. The stranger has no key to you. Their opinion lands on the surface and slides off. But the eye that undoes you is the one that knew you before you knew yourself, the one that watched you take your first steps and somewhere, quietly, without ever saying it out loud, decided how far you were allowed to go. And you have been obeying that decision your whole life without ever once agreeing to it. So let me ask you the question this entire hour will answer. Hold it gently. Do not rush to respond. Let it sit in the center of your chest, in the exact place where the flinch lives. What did it cost you being chosen? The one who left, the one who healed, the one who wanted more and refused to stay small. The one, for whatever reason, was reached for by life and lifted somewhere the others did not go. What did being chosen by the universe quietly cost you with the very tribe that made you? Do not answer yet. By the end of this hour, you will not have to reach for the answer. It will already be sitting in your open hands, and you will wonder how you carried it so long without ever once looking down at it. Stay with me. We are about to see it together, the thing that has been moving through your family for far longer than you have been alive, the thing that wears 1,000 names in every culture on earth and has one true face underneath them all. The face that once you have truly seen it, you can never again mistake for your own. Let us begin where it begins, not in malice, not in magic. In the eyes of the people who love you and cannot bear to watch you go. Let me describe a moment you already know in your body. You achieve something real, a new beginning, a relationship that finally feels safe, a door that opened after years of knocking on it in the dark. And before you have even finished telling the story, you watch a face you love go still. The smile arrives, but it arrives a beat late. The eyes do not move with the mouth. The warmth is performed, not felt, and some animal part of you registers the difference instantly. And in that half-second of stillness, your whole body receives a message that your mind will then spend weeks denying. The message is simple. The message is, do not have this in front of me. Not in front of me. Take it somewhere else. Make it smaller. Make it bearable. You do not have words for it yet, but your nervous system does. Your nervous system was trained in that room long before language ever arrived. It learned very early that there were two ways to be safe in your family. You could be in pain and be held, or you could be small and be loved. What it never once learned was how to be radiant and stay welcome. That third door was never shown to you. You did not even know it existed. So what do? You become a master of management. You learn to shrink the news before you deliver it. You learn to mention the promotion casually, almost apologetically, as if it were luck, as if anyone could have gotten it.
You learn to hide the new partner until you are absolutely sure it will last, so that if it ends, no one can ever say they saw it coming. No one can collect on the "I told you so." You learn to celebrate alone in your car, in the dark, before you walk into the house, so that by the time you actually arrive, the joy has already been worn down to a size small enough to be allowed inside. This is the cost. Not a curse on your money, not a hex on your love. The cost is far subtler and far more expensive than any curse. The cost is that you learned to dim yourself before anyone even had to ask. You became your own gatekeeper. You did their work for them, and you called it modesty. And here is why this matters more than almost anything else we will ever speak about. Because the gaze you absorbed as a child does not stay in childhood. It does not expire. It installs itself. It becomes an inner eye. And that inner eye now watches you even when you are completely, utterly alone. You feel it the moment before you post something you are proud of, that small recoil, that "what will they think?" that has no face attached because the face is everywhere now. You feel it when you are about to charge what you are actually worth and your hand hesitates over the number. You feel it in the half-second before you say, "I want this," out loud. A flinch, a bracing, a reflex that whispers, "Careful, someone is watching and they will not like this version of you." There is no one in the room, and still you flinch. That is how you know the I is no longer outside you. You did not escape it when you grew up and moved away. You carried it home. You gave it a key. And now it stands guard at the threshold of your own becoming, deciding what is allowed to grow and what must be kept small enough to be forgiven by people who are not even present. If we do not look at this directly tonight, here is exactly what happens. You will keep mistaking the I for your own voice. You will keep calling its caution wisdom. You will keep calling its smallness humility and its self-erasure kindness. You will keep apologizing for the size of your life to a courtroom that has long since emptied, and to one judge in particular, the version of someone you have been carrying around inside your own chest since you were a child, too young to understand that you were even doing it. That is what is truly at stake here tonight. Not a superstition, not a folk tale, the actual shape of your one and only life. Think for a moment about the precise places where your life has quietly grown smaller. The decision you softened before you announced it. The number you talked yourself down from, telling yourself it was modest when it was really only safe. The dream you described to your family in a smaller voice than the one you used inside your own head. The version of good news you edited before it ever reached the table, because some part of you already knew which faces would tighten and which would not. Each of those was a tax, and you paid it again and again to a watcher that doesn't even live in the room anymore. The watcher lives in your head now. It collects in your name. And here is the thing about a watcher who lives only in your head. It can be retired. It cannot be argued with. It cannot be pleased. It cannot be outgrown by becoming smaller. But it can, at last, be seen for exactly what it is and quietly relieved of its post. So, we're going to do something the old protections never quite managed to do. The amulets, the red threads, the blue glass, the salt poured across the doorway, every one of them tried to keep the eye on the outside. But we've already seen the problem with that. The eye is not outside anymore. It came in with you. It lives in your mirror now. So we're not going to ward off a stranger at the gate. We're going to walk inside to the mirror itself, and we're going to find the gaze that lives there, and we're going to learn, finally, whose it really is. Because you cannot give back what you still believe is yours, and you have been carrying something for a very long time that was never, for one moment, yours to carry.
Now, we name it. Carefully, because the name you have been given is wrong, and the wrong name has kept you afraid of the wrong thing. For thousands of years, across nearly every culture that has ever existed on this earth, human beings have believed in a gaze that wounds, the evil eye. They painted it on walls and the prows of ships. They wore it around their necks in blue and gold. They spat, they crossed their fingers, they hung glass in their doorways. They whispered prayers over newborns so the admiration of visitors would not sicken them. For a long time, the modern world dismissed all of this as primitive superstition. But stop and consider what it actually means. A belief that arises independently in cultures that never met, never traded, never shared a single word. That is not nonsense. That is a fingerprint. It means human beings everywhere noticed the same real thing and reached, each on their own, for the same kind of story to hold it. So let us be very precise about what they all noticed. They noticed that some people, when they look upon your good fortune, do not simply feel happy for you or even quietly unavailable to your joy. Something else passes through them. A small, cold thing, a shadow that crosses behind the eyes. And the person being looked at, the child, the bride, the one whose harvest came in golden, can feel it land. The infant who was praised too intensely falls ill. The crop admired too loudly withers. The one envied at the height of their joy begins, mysteriously, to lose it. The old world called this a curse, cast by malice, sent on purpose to harm. And here is exactly where I am going to ask you to set down the story you inherited, very gently, and pick up a truer one. Because the inherited story has kept you defending yourself against an enemy that, in your own family, almost never exists. The evil eye is real, as an experience. You are not inventing the chill. You are not imagining the flinch or the way the room cools when your joy enters it. But it is almost never malice. Listen to me with your whole body now, because this single sentence is the frame that will hold everything else we say for the rest of this hour. The evil eye is grief, wearing the mask of a gaze. When someone who loves you looks at your rising life and something cold moves through them, that cold thing is not hatred, it is mourning. They are looking at you and they are seeing in the same instant something they were never allowed to have, a door that closed in their own life and never reopened, a version of themselves that never got to be born. And for one unbearable moment, your joy becomes a mirror, and in that mirror they catch sight of everything they surrendered, everything they told themselves was simply impossible, everything they buried so deep and so long ago that they had honestly forgotten it was a grave at all. This is the thing almost no one ever tells you about envy. Envy, at its root, is not greed. Envy is grief that has lost its own name. It is sorrow that does not know it is sorrow, and so, unable to turn inward and mourn, it turns outward instead, and it lands on the nearest evidence of the life it did not live. And the nearest evidence, the most painful evidence of all, is you. This is precisely why family is the most dangerous eye of all. A stranger envies your surface, your house, your car, the photographs of your life. Their envy slides off because the stranger has no claim on you. But your mother, your father, your sister, the aunt who half raised you, they do not envy your surface. They envy your freedom. They envy the permission you somehow gave yourself that no one ever gave them. They look at you, and the thought never even reaches words. Underneath, where there is no language, only the old ache, they feel, I was not allowed to want that. And to watch you want it, and reach for it, and actually receive it, reopens a wound they have spent an entire lifetime pretending had healed clean. So they cannot bless you. They are not able to, because to bless your freedom fully with their whole heart would be to admit, even silently, that they themselves were imprisoned, and that grief is far too large to be held in a single ordinary afternoon. So it leaks out sideways instead, as the cold pause, as the question with the hook buried in it, as the joke that is not entirely a joke, as the gaze that finds you precisely when you shine. Now, hear me clearly, because this is so where many people make their mistake. Understanding the source does not make the gaze harmless. Grief disguised as a gaze can still drain you, still shrink you, still follow you home and take up residence in your own mirror. Knowing where the storm comes from does not mean you must stand out in the rain. A storm is not malicious either, and you still, every time, close the window. But understanding changes absolutely everything about how you protect yourself, because you do not protect yourself from grief the way you protect yourself from an enemy. You do not need a weapon for grief. You need a wall that is also a mercy. You need to learn how to stay completely whole in the presence of someone else's unhealed sorrow without absorbing it into your own body, without apologizing for the crime of having outlived it, and without ever again setting your own light down on the floor just to make their darkness feel a little less alone. So this is the frame. The I is grief. The grief belongs to them. And the thing you have been carrying all this time, the flinch, the smallness, the reflexive apology, that was you as a child, trying with everything you had to hold their grief so that they would not have to feel the full weight of it. You decided before you could even speak the decision that if you simply stayed dim enough, the people you loved would hurt less. It was the most loving thing a child could possibly do, and it is the single heaviest thing an adult can keep on doing. Tonight, finally, you are going to set it down. Now we go deeper, because grief disguised as a gaze does not wear only one face, it wears four. And I promise you have met every one of them at your own family table. The first face is the comparer. The comparer cannot allow your good news to simply exist on its own, unmeasured. The moment you set it down, they reach for the measuring stick. Oh, that's nice. Your cousin just bought a bigger one. That's wonderful. By your age, I had already done twice as much with half the help you had.
They do not insult you directly. They are far too careful for that. They simply place your joy on a scale every single time in front of you until you slowly learn to stop bringing your joy to the table at all. And what the comparer is really saying underneath, in the place that has no words, is this: if your life counts, then I have to feel the full weight of mine. So they shrink yours just slightly, just enough to lighten their own. The cold thing moving through them is not contempt. It is the unbearable arithmetic of a life they secretly fear did not add up to what it was supposed to. The second face is the minimizer. The minimizer does not compare you to anyone. The minimizer simply takes your mountain and makes it into a molehill. You climbed for years, you bled for that summit, and they say with a small wave of the hand, well, anyone could have done that. You just got lucky. It isn't really that hard. It isn't really that special. They take the achievement that cost you everything you had and they make it weightless. Because if your achievement is small, then their own absence of it is not a wound, just a choice, just a preference. The minimizer is grieving in advance. They are protecting themselves frantically and invisibly from ever having to feel the true size of the thing they never let themselves reach for. The third face is the guilt giver. This one is the most intimate of all and by far the most binding. The guilt giver does not attack your success directly. They are cleverer than that. They attach a cost to it. After everything I sacrificed for you, this is what you do? You leave, you move away, you change, you become someone I do not even recognize anymore? Their grief is, in a strange way, the most honest of the four, because they are openly mourning the loss of the version of you they could once hold and keep and predict. But they aim that mourning at you like an invoice, and you, with your tender and over-responsible heart, you pay it. You pay it with smaller dreams. You pay it with visits home that cost you a piece of your own spine every single time. You pay it with the quiet, almost invisible decision to never fully arrive anywhere in your life, so that you can always, partly, still belong to them, still be reachable, still be theirs. And the fourth face is the cold one. The cold one says nothing at all. That silence is the entire technique. You bring your news, your light, your joy, and you are met with a perfectly flat surface. No celebration, no attack you could point to or name. Just a sudden, precise withdrawal of warmth, so exact that you feel it physically as an actual drop in the temperature of the room. The cold one has buried their own grief so deep that not even they can reach it anymore. And so they can neither mourn it nor bless you past it. They can only go quiet and let the silence do all the draining for them. Now, here is what I need you to understand about all four of these faces more than anything else. They are not strategies. No one is sitting alone in a dark room planning how to dim you. This is not a conspiracy against your light. This is nervous system. This is grief moving entirely on its own, automatically, through people who were never once taught its real name. And here is exactly why blood makes all of it so much stronger. A stranger's envy slides right off you because the stranger has no claim, no history, no key. But your family installed your nervous system in the first place. They were the very first mirror you ever looked into to find out who and what you were. So, when one of their faces goes cold, it does not register inside you as merely one opinion among many that you can weigh and discard. It registers as the truth about you. Because for the first years of your life, their faces literally were the truth about you. That is not a weakness in your character. That is biology, older than thought. The infant who could not read its mother's face did not survive the night. You were built from the cell up to find yourself reflected in their eyes. Which means, and this is the part that explains your whole adult life, the gaze does not need to be aimed at you anymore in order to reach you. It is already woven into the architecture. You absorbed it through years of proximity, through endless repetition, through 10,000 ordinary dinners where no one said anything at all. It became a frequency you tune to without even trying, a station that plays whether or not anyone is broadcasting. And so even now, far from home, an adult with your own life and your own walls and your own door, you can feel the cold pass straight through you, and you can turn around and find that there is no one there, no one in the room. You have become the comparer to yourself, the minimizer of your own hard-won wins, the guilt giver standing at your own door. This is the deepest part of the whole thing, so stay with me. The evil eye completed its true work on the very day it no longer needed an eye at all. The day you finally learned to drain yourself on schedule, so reliably and so faithfully that the others could at last rest. You took over the job entirely, out of love, out of loyalty, out of a small child's ancient sacred bargain. I will stay small, and in return, you will never have to grieve what you lost. So when we speak of protection in a moment, and we are about to, in detail, I need you to understand precisely what it is we are protecting you from. Not your family, not the people themselves. We are protecting you from the inherited reflex that took their unfelt grief and quietly turned it into your ceiling. We are not going to build a wall against the people you love. We are going to do something braver and far more freeing. We are going to take back the one job that was never ever yours to do, the job of carrying their sorrow so that they would not have to feel it themselves. You can put it down now, right now. They are allowed to grieve, and you are allowed to rise. Both of those things can be completely true in the same family, at the same table, inside the unbearable, ordinary, lifelong love.
Here is where most people stop. And here is why most people are never actually free. They learn that it is grief and not malice. They soften, they feel compassion, they forgive, and then they walk right back into the room and dim themselves all over again, just as completely as before. Because they took half of the truth and mistook it for the whole of it. The half-truth is this: it is not malice, it is mourning, so I should be gentle, I should be patient, I should make it easier for them. And that is true, it is real and it is good, but it is only half. And the missing half, the half almost no one ever hands you, is the exact half that sets you free. So here is the whole truth, both halves, together, at last. Their grief is real, and it is not yours to heal. Read that with your whole body. Let it go all the way down. Their grief is real, and it is not yours to heal. You did not cause the door that closed in their life. You were not even there. You were not born yet, or you were a small child, or you were simply innocently living your own life when their dreams went quiet and their windows went dark. Their unlived life is the great and genuine sorrow of their existence, and it deserves real tenderness. But it is theirs. It belongs to them in exactly the same way your one life belongs to you. And every single time you make yourself smaller in order to soothe it, you are not actually helping them grieve it. Hear this. You are helping them avoid grieving it. You are letting them spend their sorrow on you again instead of finally turning to face it themselves. That is the turn. That is the whole hinge of this hour. Your smallness was never ever a gift to them. It was a delay. It was an anesthetic. It allowed them to postpone year after year the one reckoning that might have actually freed them. The moment they finally looked at their own life with clear eyes and wept for it honestly, instead of looking at yours and going cold. Think for a moment about what your dimming has actually been teaching them all this time. It taught them that their reaction works, that when they go quiet, you shrink, that when they compare, you apologize and explain, that when they hand you the invoice of guilt, you pay it in full and on time every time. Every payment you ever made confirmed the entire system. You became, without ever intending to, the precise reason they never had to change a single thing. Your loyalty became the lock on their own prison, and you held the key from the inside, the whole time, completely convinced that you were only being kind. So, what does real love actually look like here? Not the love that dissolves itself to comfort, not the love that goes dark to keep someone in their darkness. The love that stays standing. Real love says with the whole chest, I see your grief, and I will not pretend it is not there, and I will not pick it up and carry it for you. I will love you from a height that you cannot shame me back down from. I will keep my joy intact in front of you, not to wound you, never to flaunt it, because my dimming never once healed you in all these years, and your healing was never ever mine to perform on your behalf. And this is the exact moment that real protection begins, not with a wall, not with a war, with a recognition. The evil eye loses its entire power the instant you stop agreeing with it. Sit with that. The gaze can only drain what you hand to it. The cold can only enter through a door you have left open out of guilt. The comparison only lands if some small old part of you still secretly believes that you owe them a smaller life than the one you have. You owe them love. You do not owe them your ceiling. You owe them your honesty. You do not owe them your light. And here is the mercy hidden right inside the turn, the part that makes it possible to do all of this without ever becoming hard or cold or cruel. When you finally stop letting their grief shrink you, you are not abandoning them. You are doing the opposite. You are finally telling them the truth with your whole life. Your existence is allowed to have been hard, and mine is allowed to be good, and neither of those two facts cancels out the other one. And in doing that, you are modeling with your own unapologetic, undimmed existence the very freedom they themselves were never given. You become living proof that the door was never quite as locked as they spent their whole lives believing it was. Now, the hardest truth inside the hard truth. Most of them will not take that proof. That's the grief sitting inside your grief, that your wholeness may not heal them, that some of the people you love most will choose the cold over the reckoning again and again, right up until the very end. You cannot make them grieve. You cannot make them rise. You cannot reach into them and turn the light back on. You can only finally stop being the place they put everything they refuse to feel. So the question we began with, what did being chosen cost you with your tribe, turns now all the way over in your open hands. It cost you an illusion. The illusion that staying small was a form of love. It cost you the bargain you signed before you could read. And what you receive in exchange is the only thing in this world that was ever worth more. You get to stop being the lifelong keeper of a grief that was never once yours, and you get to be, at long last, exactly the size that you actually are. Now, let me show you precisely how to stand inside that room, the real one, the next dinner, the next phone call, the next holiday, and stay completely whole. Not cold, not armored, not at war. Whole. Because there is a way to be deeply shielded that is also, in the same breath, soft. Let me put it into your hands.
Here it is, the shield itself. And it is nothing like the one the old world tried to hand you. The old world told you to keep the eye on the outside, blue glass at the window, red thread at the wrist, salt poured across the threshold, charms and prayers against a stranger's stare. But we have established the deeper truth across this entire hour. The eye is not outside. It came home with you long ago. It lives in your mirror now, and it speaks in a voice that sounds exactly like your own. So a charm at the door cannot possibly help you. The protection has to live where the gaze actually lives. It has to live on the inside. The shield has 3 movements, only 3. See it, name it, seal it. First, you see the cord. Picture for a moment how this actually works between people. Between you and each person who drains you, there is a line of attention. Call it a cord. When they go cold, when they compare, when they hand you the guilt, that cord pulls, it tugs, and for your entire life you have answered the pull without ever once questioning it. You felt the tug and you moved toward them, smaller, lower, apologizing, dimming, managing your own light back to a manageable size. So the first movement of protection is almost laughably simple and almost impossibly hard. It is to feel the pull and, instead of obeying it, to notice it, to see it light up. Oh, there it is, that tug, that pull at the center of my chest. That is not my own truth arriving. That is their grief reaching across the table for me. The instant you can see the cord, it can no longer move you in secret, and almost all of its power was always only in being invisible. You used to believe the flinch was your own. You used to believe the smallness was your humility, the apology your kindness, the dimming your good manners. Now you see the cord clearly, and you finally know that is not me. That is the inheritance reaching across the years, asking me to please go back to my old job. Second, you name it, silently, inside, where no one else can hear. When the cold passes through the room, you name it once for exactly what it is. That is grief, not a verdict on me. That is their unlived life looking at my lived one. You do not say a word of this out loud. You do not announce it at the table. You do not explain it to them or accuse them with it. You simply, quietly refuse to mistranslate it any longer. Because the entire drain always depended on a single mistranslation, on you hearing their grief and believing in your body that it was the truth about your own worth. Name it correctly just once, inside, and the spell breaks in your own bloodstream.
The chill still moves through the room, yes, but it no longer moves through you, because you are no longer the screen they are projecting onto. You have quietly stepped to the side, and the projection sails past into empty air. And third, and this one is the very heart of it all, you seal the flame. Imagine your life force as a flame burning in the center of your chest. For years in that room, you learned to lower it, to reach in and turn it down before you ever walked through the door, so that your brightness would not cost you anything once you were inside. The seal is the exact opposite of that, and it is also the opposite of the other extreme. You do not put the flame out, and you do not let it blaze up defensively either, hot and angry and proving something. You do something quieter and far stronger. You place around it a calm, golden boundary, a thin, luminous membrane, and that membrane says, without a word, "This stays mine. You may see my light, you may not take it. You may grieve in front of it for as long as you need to. It will not go out to keep you company in the dark." This is the shield that is also, in the same motion, a mercy, because a sealed flame doesn't need to attack the darkness around it. It doesn't lecture anyone. It doesn't cut out every relative out of your life. It doesn't announce its boundaries loudly, like a fresh wound demanding to be witnessed. It simply stays lit, gently, steadily, without apology, in a room that does not yet know how to bless it. And in simply staying lit, it stops the one thing that was killing you. It stops feeding itself to the cold. See it, name it, seal it. That's the whole protection. And notice carefully what it asks of the other person. It asks of them nothing, nothing at all. You do not need them to change. You do not need them to apologize or to understand or to suddenly, miraculously celebrate you the way you always wanted. The shield works completely whether they ever heal or not, because it was never for 1 second about controlling their gaze. It was only ever about owning your own light. And here finally is the payoff, the very thing the old amulets could only ever promise and never quite deliver. When the flame is sealed, the gaze simply stops working. Not because they stopped sending it. They may go on sending it for the rest of their natural lives. It stops working because there is no longer anything on your end answering the pull. The cord goes slack. The cold arrives at the door and finds no opening. The comparison lands and finds no scale left inside you that still secretly agrees with it. And so you stand there, present, loving, even tender, even warm, and you are utterly, quietly, permanently unavailable to be dimmed. That is what it truly means to be shielded from the evil eye of your own relatives. Not a wall, not a war, not exile. A single sealed flame burning steady in a familiar room, loving them fully from a height they can no longer shame you down from, and finally, after a whole lifetime of handing it away piece by piece, keeping every last bit of your own light.
The first practice is the threshold pause. Before you walk into the family home, before you answer the call, before you step back into the old room, you stop, just for 3 slow breaths, and you set the flame. You picture that calm, golden boundary forming gently around your light, and you say one single sentence, silently, inside. I am going in as the size I actually am. You are not bracing yourself for war. You are not arming yourself. You are simply reminding your nervous system before it ever reaches the old room that the old room no longer gets to set your size. This one small pause, repeated faithfully, begins to undo years of automatic dimming because it interrupts the reflex in the half second before the reflex can fire. The second practice is the silent renaming. When the cold comes, and it will come, do not be surprised by it. Do not take it as failure. You do not argue. You do not explain yourself. You do not perform your hurt for them to see. You simply rename it once on the inside. That is grief, not truth. 3 words. They are the most powerful 3 words you will ever choose not to say out loud. Because those 3 words keep you from doing the one thing that has been quietly draining you your entire life. Believing them, believing the cold, taking it inside as a fact about your worth. The renaming is not for the other person. It is a door, and you are closing it gently from your own side. The third practice is keeping your joy intact. This one will feel almost rude the first few times you do it, and that very discomfort is the clearest measure of how deep the old training actually went. When you share your good news and you feel the room go cold, your old reflex is to immediately shrink it, to add a but, to add an "it's not really a big deal," to tack a little downplaying tail onto the end of the sentence so that the joy becomes small enough to be forgiven and let in. The practice is simply to let the sentence end, to say the good and true thing fully at its real height, and then to stop talking and to let the silence that follows be theirs to fill, not yours to rush in and fix. You are not bragging. You are refusing, finally, to apologize for the size of your own life. And every single time you let one piece of good news stand at its full height without flinching, you teach your own body a little more deeply that joy is no longer a danger to your belonging. The fourth practice is the compassion that does not absorb. You can love them and not carry them. Hold both. So when you feel the grief moving underneath their cold gaze, let your heart genuinely soften toward it, and at the very same time, let your spine stay completely straight. You can think quietly without ever saying it. I am sorry that life closed that door for you. I truly am. And you can think it fully with real tenderness while keeping your own door firmly, kindly shut against being drained. Compassion is not the same thing as collapse. They were never the same thing, though you were taught they were. The deepest love you can possibly offer someone who is trapped inside their own grief is to refuse to climb down into the dark and join them, to stay lit steadily above it, so that the way out always remains visible to them whenever they are finally ready to take it. And the fifth practice is the most important of all and the most ongoing. You begin to catch the inner eye. Remember the whole point. The gaze lives in your own mirror now. So the real daily work is not only at the family table a few times a year, it is every single day, alone, in the smallest moments. The instant before you charge what you truly are worth. The pause before you post the thing you are quietly proud of. The flinch before you let yourself say out loud, I want this. In those exact moments, the inner comparer, the inner minimizer, the inner guilt giver all speak up, and they speak in a voice that sounds precisely, perfectly like your own. And your practice in that moment is to catch the voice and ask it one simple question. Whose voice is this really? And almost every single time, if you are honest, if you listen underneath, you will hear an older voice sitting just beneath your own.
and the very moment you hear it clearly, it stops running you in secret. So you return it, gently, without drama, without blame. This is yours. I am setting it down now. Do these 5, not perfectly, just faithfully, and something quiet and absolutely enormous begins to happen over the following months. The phone calls slowly cost you a piece of your spine. The dinners become survivable, and then merely ordinary, and then sometimes, when you least expect it, even warm. And not because they changed. Most of them did not change at all. It happened because you finally stopped handing them your own light to manage for you. The cord goes slack, the flame stays sealed. And one ordinary day, you will notice that you shared a piece of good news at the family table, and you did not shrink it, and the sky did not fall, and you did not die, and no one cast you out, and the only thing that quietly ended was a contract you had signed when you were far too young to even read it. That is integration. Not one single dramatic confrontation that fixes everything at once. 1,000 small, quiet refusals to dim. 1,000 silent renamings. One flame kept gently lit in every single room you were once carefully taught to walk into dark.
So let us return now to the question we began with, the one I asked you to hold without answering, the one I told you would already be sitting in your open hands by the end. What did being chosen cost you with your tribe? You know now. Of course you know now. It cost you a bargain you made before you could even speak it, and the bargain was always this: I will stay small, and in return, you will not have to grieve. You kept your half of it faithfully for decades. You dimmed your flame at 10,000 dinners. You shrank your joy at the threshold of the door. You hid your wins and softened your news and apologized for the size of your own life. You carried a sorrow that was never once yours to carry because you loved them and because a child, every child, believes with its whole being that love means becoming whatever it takes to keep the people you need from hurting. It was the most loving thing a child could possibly do, and it is the single heaviest thing an adult can keep on doing. And tonight, you finally set it down. Because tonight, you saw the whole of it, both halves at once. The evil eye was never a curse cast by malice in the dark. It was grief wearing the mask of a gaze. It was your family looking at your one lived life and silently mourning their one unlived one. And that grief, never named, never faced, leaking out sideways across every ordinary afternoon, as the cold pause, as the comparison, as the invoice of guilt, as the flat and freezing silence. And you, with your tender and faithful heart, you took it all in, and you called it the truth about yourself. You made their ceiling into your ceiling. You took their eye and you installed it carefully in your own mirror, and then you spent your life mistaking it for your own. And now you see it, the cord, the pull, the inherited reflex with the borrowed voice. You can feel the gaze coming now, across the table, across the phone line, and you can name it silently before it ever lands. That is grief, not truth. You can love them from a height they cannot shame you down from. You can keep your flame sealed and steady and lit in a room that has never once learned how to bless it.
You can even grieve with real sorrow that some of them will choose the cold over the reckoning for the rest of their lives, and still, gently, stop being the place they put everything they refuse to feel. Their grief is real, and it is not yours to heal. Your joy is real, and it does not need their permission to exist. And both of those things can live at the very same time, in the same family, at the same crowded table, inside the same unbearable, ordinary, lifelong love. So, here is what I want you to carry with you out of this hour and into the rest of your life. Not fear of the people who raised you, not war, not exile, not a list of everyone who wronged you. Carry a sealed flame and a soft and open heart and 3 quiet words for the next time the cold passes through the room. That is grief, not truth. Set the boundary that is also in the very same motion a mercy. Stay lit, stay whole, stay exactly the size you actually are. You were never cursed. Let that land. You were never cursed. You were loyal, loyal all the way down to a contract that was written in a language of pain you were far too young to refuse to sign. And so the most sacred thing you will ever do is not to break that contract in anger and storm away from everyone who hurt you, but to quietly outgrow it in peace, and to let your own unapologetic light become the living proof that the door was never, ever as locked as anyone in that house believed. You are not broken. You are running someone else's code. And now you see it. And once you have truly seen the cord, you can never again mistake it for your own hand. The eye loses the rune, the flame keeps the light, the grief stays with the one it belongs to, and your joy at last comes home to you. So, before you go, picture it once all the way through, the way you would rehearse something you intend to actually live. Picture the next piece of good news arriving, the real kind, the kind that used to make you brace before you spoke, and this time picture yourself receiving it whole, not shrinking it, not pre-apologizing for it, not scanning the room for the face that will tighten, just letting it be exactly as large as it is. Now, picture the harder one. Picture yourself walking into the room you have learned to dread, the table, the kitchen, the gathering where the 4 faces wait. And you picture yourself crossing that threshold calm, your flame already sealed before your hand touches the door, the gold already drawn around the warm and private center of you. You feel the old cord give its tug, you notice it, you name it. That is grief, not truth, and you let it go slack without a single word spoken aloud, without anyone at that table ever knowing a quiet act of sovereignty just happened in their midst. That is not a fantasy, that is a skill. And like every skill, it grows quieter and stronger every single time you practice it. It lives in 3 small movements you already know by heart now. See it, name it, seal it. Go gently now. Stay lit. The next time you rise, and you will rise again and again, that is simply who you are now. Bring all of it into the room with you, every last lumen of it. Do not leave a single one at the door. It was always, always yours. Until the next becoming, stay sealed, stay soft, stay sovereign.